Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Where you guys at? Where you at today? Talk to me. Where you at today? We got lots to cover today. We're going to dig into some contracts today. What you need to be aware of, what you're looking for, all kinds of good stuff. But come on board, come on, let me hear you, let me hear you, let me hear you. Where you coming in from? What you doing? Where you at? All that good stuff. Let's see what you got.
What you're looking for.
That's me. That's me. Yeah, that's me. All right, I'm waiting on you guys. That's what I'm doing. I'm waiting on you guys to come on in. Come on in. Come on in. I got my dad cup today. I don't know if you guys can see that. I got my dad cup today. We're going live today. Live on Facebook today from home. Yes, we are. Live on Facebook today from home. So talk to me. Let me know you're here. Let me know you can hear me. That's important. Let me know you can hear me. We are talking today about contracts. We're on week 5 of our 24-week challenge. So let me hear from you guys today. Where you at, people? Where you at, people? Where's everybody at today? Where is everybody at today? That's what I want to know. Where is everybody at today? Stillwater, Oklahoma. There's James. James is on here. Way to go, James. Good to have you on here, man. We got people coming on board. They're slow rolling in here. James, it's good to have you on again, my friend. It's always good to see some familiar people coming back, enjoying the information. Welcome to the home office. If you haven't seen it before, you're in it now. The office, I guess you could say the studio office is being rebuilt right now. Steven says, hello, Zach from Bentonville, Arkansas. Welcome, Arkansas. Good to have you on board, Arkansas. Good to have you on board, Oklahoma. Good to have you on board, Carolinas. The AC's in the house. Good to have you on board, Alabama with Vera on here. Good to have you guys on board. Good to have you on board. Hey, listen, today's important. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Zack Childress. If this is your first time ever watching this is a little bit different for you because I'm shooting from home. Usually we're in the studio and we've got our fancy video stuff going on. But this is just raw today. We're coming to you. So I'm excited to have you guys on. If you're just joining me and you're trying to understand why you're here or what we do, well, we do live Facebook training every Tuesday at 1:30 Eastern Time Zone. We also do a live show every Wednesday at 1:30 Eastern Time Zone. Our Tuesday live shows is all about real estate. This is our real estate talk. Why can I talk about real estate? Well, I've been a full-time investor for 16 years. I've invested from California to Florida and everywhere in between. I own real estate from residential to apartments to commercial buildings. I'm in the fix and flip business. I've done lease options. I've done creative financing. I do seller financing. I am a private investor locally. I wholesale, you name it, I'm involved in it. And I've been doing that for 16 years. And I started, just like most of you who are watching me, I started with literally $200 to my name, and my credit score was in the 500s. So, I know, that always shocks me. I have managed to get really good credit repair over the years, and I'm up in the 700s now. But the point being made is that you don't have to have everything perfect to get started, right? You just have to what? Start. That's the journey. The journey isn't sitting around thinking about it. The journey is starting. The journey is getting out there and getting going. So I also just want to say, like, a lot of you are always like, well, Zack, what can I get for free? Everybody wants something for free. Well, this is your free. This is your time to absorb free, right? Free training every Tuesday at 1:30 Eastern Time Zone. Free training every Wednesday at 1:30 Eastern Time Zone. Why? Well, Wednesdays is our Dig Deeper. We're breaking down the 7 habits of highly effective people on Wednesday right now. This is for you. I don't want you ever getting confused that you have to always buy something to be part of something. Maybe that's what other people do. Well, we don't do that, right? I give you value every single week, so don't ever sit around and complain that, you know, you can't get any training because you got to pay for it all. Well, that's just absolutely not true. So be here, be engaged, be part of what we do, and participate, right? The best way to learn is participation. Ask questions. Talk about your deals. Ask me, some advice on something that you're working on. That's why I'm here. So, Talon says, "Hey Zack and family." Hey Talon, good to see you back, buddy. Gloria says, "Hello Zack." Hello Gloria. Right? I'm gonna try real hard today not to break my phone. How many of you remember the last time I did this from home? I went to go show you the snow out by the pool, and I dropped my phone and it broke. So I'm going to try not to do that today. So anyways, any questions before we dig into this show today? I'm excited. I want to get you rocking and rolling today. For those of you that are joining us, welcome. If you're brand new, welcome. If you've been around for a while, welcome. This is our real estate talk show. We do it every Tuesday. So what are we doing today? Well, one thing we're doing is I'm having coffee late. Yes, I know. I'm having coffee late. But the other big thing that we're doing is we're continuing our journey down the 24-week challenge, okay? You're all part of the 24-week challenge, and I hope that you've been participating in our 24-week challenge, and you've been doing the exercises and consuming the information that I've been sharing with you every week. We're on week 5 right now, so we've got a long way to go, but hey, you know, we got to start somewhere, right? Everyone has to start somewhere, and this is where you're starting at, if this is where you're starting. Or you might be with me and have been with me for a long time, and you know, you've gotten all kinds of value out of this stuff. And so I just, I embrace the journey, I embrace you guys, and I'm excited for this to unfold for you. So, hey, does anybody have any questions for me this morning, afternoon, or wherever you're at? If you're out in California, it's still morning, so my coffee doesn't reflect the time zone if you're in California. Let's see, who's got questions for me this morning? No questions, huh? That's good. That means you guys are getting it all worked out. All right. Okie doke. Steve joined us. Steve, good to have you on here. I was just talking about you actually yesterday, Steve. I was just talking about you. Good afternoon, Zack. Good afternoon. Gloria says, I do. Well, share your question with me, Gloria. James says, I want some insight on how to promote your website. I want some insight on how to promote your website. When you say your, do you mean my company website or your website? James, help me clarify that, okay? So I want to get some clarification on that one. But James, I like that you're asking me questions already. Gloria, type in your question for me. I know you said you had a question. I'd like to hear it. So we got more people coming on board, so that's awesome. For those of you that don't know me, I am Zack Childress. I am a real estate investor and a real coach. I say that because there's a lot of nonsense out there, but the reality is you need to be in the right spot at the right time at the right place, and you're here, okay? For those of you that are brand new, welcome to the home office. I'm here this week, hopefully not next week. They're redoing the studio, so we're going to be rebuilding that, and then I'll be back in the office. So Gloria has a question, and it is, I don't have money or credit. I want to buy an income property. That's great, Gloria. You don't need money or credit to produce income from real estate, okay? And we're going to talk a lot more about that specific question, Gloria, next week. And why do I say that? Because it is highly important that you understand that, first off. Because we're going to be going over the 4 profit centers next Tuesday. This Tuesday is the week 5 of our 24-week challenge, where we're going to be talking about contracts, okay? But Gloria, it's really, if you want to make income off properties without using your money or your credit, then you need to move into what's called a Tier 2 investor. Tier 2 is creative strategies. It's where you do like lease options, contract for deed, land installment contracts, wrap mortgages, subject twos. It's where you actually control the property. You leave the financing in place, and you control that property. So either A, you could take ownership of it and sell it and make a profit. B, you could take ownership of that property and then put a tenant buyer in it, or even a renter in it, and rent it out for the cash flow. And that doesn't require you to go get a loan. It doesn't require you to have money for a down payment. I started off doing that in the very beginning because I didn't have the credit or the money. But it allowed me to control a lot of properties through a Tier 2 investing strategy, which we're going to talk more about next week. But it's really about like lease options, wrap mortgages, contract for deeds, land installment contracts, subject twos. Those are all forms of creative financing where basically the seller just cannot keep up with the payment. They can't sell it for some reason, or they don't want to sell it. And so therefore, they're willing to let you take over the payments based on a terms program, which then in return allows you to leave the financing in place. So when you say, I want to buy and hold, well, you can't buy if you don't have money or credit, right? So you can control and hold. So change your words there, right? Thomas says, hey, Zack. Hey, Thomas. Lots of people coming on board with us now. James says, mine. So how do you promote your website? Well, your website can be promoted in a bunch of different ways, James. One of those ways is through your marketing itself, identifying your marketing, identifying your target, making sure your website's on there if you're trying to promote your main site or a landing page. Other than that, the only other way to really get your page, like what we refer to in the search engines, is it has to be a full-blown page. It cannot be a landing page. It cannot be, any type of like opt-in page or anything like that. But your main page, where there's multiple tabs and there's lots of content on there about who you are, what you do about you, who you've helped, how you help others, what your services are, how to get a hold of you, all those different things. Will move you into a process of doing what's called SEO. You have to use SEO. You got to get search engine optimization on your page, and you've got to really maximize that. The other way is dropping your page out into forums, real estate investing forums on Facebook, YouTube, you name it, get them out there. The other way to really get a bunch of people moving into your page is through article disbursement. Writing articles, using article spinners, using article pushers, and putting your articles based on your market. If you're trying to market and to get your site known in your market, then you would specialize on information about your market. What's the foreclosure rate going on in your market? What are investors saying? What's the lender saying in your market? Write about things in your market and put it out there, and it'll drive people in there. Those are just some real quick, easy way, James, to get you started. So Francisca says, hey, Zack. Hey, Francisca. Gloria, you're welcome. Awesome. All right, well, we got lots of people on today. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. I like it. We got people coming on board still. Lots of people writing and talking. That's what it's about right there, guys. Look, I can sit here and train you all day long. I can talk about real estate for weeks on ends. But I don't really help you unless you're asking questions, right? You can be fed information, but that information doesn't get retained or get placed into your business model until you go out and you start applying the information into your market. And then that's when you start getting questions, right? And you start saying, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you come back and you talk to me. So let's talk about the main thing today, Week 5. So for all those of you that are just now joining me, we are digging into our 24-week challenge. I am Zack Childress. I am your real estate coach because I am a real estate investor. And I'm out there doing it every day, and I've been doing it for 16 years. And what I wanted to do this year was start off with a 24-week challenge, which means over the next 24 weeks, I'm challenging you to grow your business. And I'm going to help you every week do that by giving you small pieces of the business each week as we move forward to help you develop strategies, skills, knowledge that will help you grow your business. That's ultimately the purpose of it. And so we are on week 5 of the 24-week challenge. What is week 5 all about? It's all about what contracts to use. What contracts should I be using? And which one should I get familiar with? Because that's ultimately what it comes down to. When you're looking at contracts, a lot of people get nervous about contracts because they don't know enough about them. And what that really says to me is they haven't read them. You need to read all your contracts. You need to highlight the things you don't know or don't understand, and you need to get answers for them so that you're very clear on your contracts. And there's different contracts for all different purposes. I mean, I could spend a 3-day seminar just going over the abundance of contracts out there and the different ways to contract a property and the different strategies from it. But I really want to keep it to the core right now and help you understand specifically what contract should you be aware of, right? And so what those look like is there's a list, and if you want to write them down, you can. And those lists are, you should all be using an LOI. You should be using a purchase and sales agreement. You should be using an assignment of contract. You should be using a lease option agreement. You should be using a co-wholesaling agreement. You should be using a demand of funds letter. You should absolutely be using an independent contractor agreement, okay? Independent contractor agreement, an ICA. And those are things depending on which strategy that you're going to be in and how that unfolds. You know, but we got the LOI, the purchase and sales agreement, the assignment contract, the lease option agreement, the co-wholesaling agreement, and the demand of funds agreement, okay? Those are things you need to be aware of. And we're going to work our way through these main agreements, okay? Let's see here. Edward says, how do you feel about vacant houses? I love them, Edward. There's many reasons I love a vacant house. Number one, it's not producing anything for the seller. Number two, it's a liability for the seller. And number three, usually it's vacant for a reason, meaning that the person who either owns the property has moved out, or they tried to rent it and wasn't very successful with it, or it was inherited and they just don't know what to do with it yet. So Jim says, hey, Zach. Hey, Jim. Sorry, misspelled your name. That's okay, Jim. I get it all the time, right? So that's like my name's Zach, but I get called Jack. And in the Asian community, I get called Sack. Like, you know, a sack of balls or whatever. So I go with it, man. I just roll with it. So Talon says, hey, Zach, could you please go through the zip code matrix for me? I'm having problems with this. I won't on this one, but if you hang with me, we're going to be talking about selecting of markets inside the 24-week challenge. So hang with us, Talon. You'll get it, buddy. All right. So let's talk about the LOI. Let's go ahead and break out a page or half a page or whatever you want to do. Spend some time on the LOI. And look, feel free to ask me questions along the way. It's fine. But the LOI is a very easy to use contract, right? The LOI is just simply the letter of intent. And a lot of agents have a tendency to balk at the LOI. And honestly, I don't know why, because the LOI has been around longer than I've been around, honestly, because its original purpose was for commercial investing, because commercial investors would never even start a contract with anyone until they had initiated a letter of intent. Meaning, hey, look, this is our intent to buy. This is my letter stating I want to buy based on these following terms. And what that did is it allowed the seller to acknowledge the terms and say, look, I'm good with all these terms. And if they are, then you move forward with a state-approved contract at that point, or any contract written by an attorney to execute the sale. Honestly, you can actually buy a piece of property from a napkin. Let's just be clear on that. But the letter of intent is also useful in real estate for residential. And the reason being is, especially if you're brand new and you're a little nervous or you're a little skeptical of the contracts, and I think that's reasonable. I mean, it's reasonable. If you've never done them or haven't been through the process of actually closing on a property or haven't been through the process of learning your contract, you could be nervous about it. There could be a sense of fear, which is false evidence appearing real, right? That, things may not go the way that you want. The biggest thing that I get back from students is, well, what if they accept it? Now I'm binded to the agreement. Well, in a purchase and sales agreement, you are binded to the agreement. In an LOI, you're not. An LOI is a non-binding agreement that allows you to basically put your intent out there to as many properties as you want without being bounded to buy any of them. Even if they sign it and you sign it, you're not bounded to buy. It's just an intent saying, hey, look, here's a formal letter of my intent to purchase your property based on these terms, based on these things right here. And if you agree to these, then I'll move forward with a contract. It's super easy, it's super efficient, and the best part about it is it allows you to move a lot faster through properties and offers. So a lot of people get stuck on making an offer because of the contract. Well, just write the LOI. It's a one page. If you have my 30-day fast track, if you have my ADM, if you have my quick start, my quick cash, my matchmaker, if you have my bus tour, you have my 2-day immersion, you have my 3-day event, if you have any of the stuff like that I produce, you have a copy of my letter of intent. Use it. Use it. I'm telling you, use it. It's powerful. You want to use this thing. It's strong. It gives you the confidence to keep getting offers out there. And then from there, it allows you to, take an execution on the ones that you want to move on. And the ones you don't have to. That's the beauty of it. So the letter of intent. If you got any questions on the letter of intent, type it in and I'll be happy to answer those. If not, we'll move on to the next one. So the letter of intent's purpose is to get you to the purchase and sales agreement, right? So instead of let's say if you live in California, bless you, if you live in California. I lived there and I was happy to get out of there. Hey, and I'm not complaining about California. I'm just saying I was very happy to get out of California. There's a lot of good in California, but I was really happy to be out. So, hey, listen, I see a whole bunch more people joining us. Welcome to the show. This is our live show. We do it every Tuesday. It's about real estate investing. My name's Zack Childress. Usually you see us in the studio. I'm at the home office right now. This is your real estate investing talk show. We do it every Tuesday at 1:30 Eastern Time. Tomorrow, Wednesdays, we do our Dig Deeper shows at 1:30 Eastern Time Zone. So welcome. If you're new, say hi to us. Let us know you're here. And I'm all about helping you guys. This is where you get your free information, right? People say, Zack, you got all this stuff you sell. What about free? Well, you're on it, right? This is our 24-week challenge, which means what? For the next 6 months, I'm working you guys through your real estate business. You can't get much freer than that, right? So I'm happy to do it because I want to help people. Our goal is to change 10,000 lives this year, and you're one of them, right? So be part of it. Tell us how you feel. Tell us what's going on in your life. I'd be happy to help you any way I can. So today is week 5. We're going over what contracts you should use. And I've given you a list of LOIs, purchase and sales agreement, assignment contracts, lease option agreements, co-wholesaling agreements, demand of funds letter, and an ICA, which we're going to be talking about today, okay? Let's see here. I'm getting some questions in. Elio, 3 years now I've tried to get the buyer all right. Buyer, I cannot. How come you say adjust new students from your student can make 7 days in 1 month? It's not true. Plus, nobody, no sailor wants to sell for my house without. Whoo, man, that's some messed up English in this thing. I cannot get it because low income and bad credit. Okay, listen, man, I think your question is that you're saying for 3 years you've tried with no success. And you say to adjust. That's right, I do say to adjust, meaning that you might be trying. If you even follow me at all or studied anything I have, you'll know that I'm always talking about adjust. If you're trying to make something happen in a segment of the market and it's not working, it's not because it doesn't work, it's because it's not working in that segment. You got to move over to that's why we talk about zip code analysis and clustering and segmentation. There's more to this than just let me go out and make a bunch of low offers and hope it works. No, you got to dig a little deeper, man. You got to dig into it. You say your students can make 7 days in 1 month. I think you're asking me about the student that I did a case study on where he did a deal in 7 days. Yes, there's an entire case study on this. I hired a guy to film us for 7 days. He used none of his money, none of his credit. And the guy followed me and this guy around all of the city. We went and looked at properties. We met with wholesalers. We got on the phone and we dialed and dialed. We picked up the phone and we made phone calls. And yeah, we produced a deal in 7 days. You're absolutely right. So thanks for pointing that out. I want to sell my house without pre-approval letters. Listen, I know who this. You're the same person that gave me a 1-star rating. You are so negative, my friend. Here's the thing. You've got to understand that you've got to get deeper in this business. You can't just assume it's going to come to you. You can't just assume that it's going to fall into your lap. It doesn't work that way. You got to make it happen. No one's going to give you anything. They're not going to do it. You've got to get on the phone. You got to dial. I mean, we prove this all the time with our 2-day immersion. We put people in a room, make them dial the phone, and in 12 hours they produce deals because why? They're dialing. You cannot go to a seller and assume that every seller is going to want to work with you the way you want to work with them. It doesn't work that way. It's a numbers game. So you've got to put the time in. You got to make the calls. To sit there and say wholesaling doesn't work is so naive of you. There's people on our Facebook page while we're doing these live streams that come on here and talk about the deals they're doing. So basically you're saying that they're lying. So I don't understand where you're coming from, Elaho, however you say your name. I would say this, let go of the negative past. Let go of the negative information that you're spouting out there because that's what's going to control your journey. And really, I shouldn't even spend any more time on you. Let's go to somebody else. Gloria, do you have to put up any amount of money with an LOI? No, that's the beauty of an LOI. There is no money put up. I've been using an LOI for 16 years. That's the beauty of it. It's just a letter of intent. Once they agree to the terms in the LOI, then you move forward. And that contract is where you have to secure it with earnest money, okay? Thomas says, where can I get a copy of the LOI? Thomas, I just ran through a whole list of them. Anything that, if you have anything of mine, it's in the resource CDs, okay? Let's see here. That Elaho. He just keeps saying the same. Look, Elaho, it's not going to work for you, man. It's not, or her, or whatever. It's not, you keep saying it's not going to work, so it's not going to work for you, right? It's just not. So, Tracy, smiley faces. Kenneth says, hey, Zack. Hey, Kenneth says, Zack, you can help me with my credit. Yeah, well, you can help yourself, really, or you can hire a credit repair company like I did. Author says, I have a deal and need your help. I'm talking to the buyer first. Good job, Author. All you need to do is get the deal, bring it back, and let's run through the numbers together. But good job, Author, for going out there, getting a deal, putting the phone to use, and making it happen, right? Instead of like, you know how many times I run into people that say, oh, man, I tried. but it didn't work. I will guarantee you they didn't try hard enough. So, Gloria says thanks. Thomas says thanks. You're welcome. All right, moving on. Purchase and sales agreement. So, purchase and sales agreement is the purchase and sales agreement is where you actually get binded into the agreement. It's when you have laid out your intent to purchase, you've laid out your intent and your terms of purchase, whether that be cash or whether that be through some type of seller financing through a purchase and sales agreement, a number of things, right? That contract is binding. So what does that mean? That means you need to know it. You need to learn your contract. You need to read it. You need to pay attention to it. You need to understand everything about it, and you need to move through it, okay? And you need to be able to communicate that contract to a seller if you need to, right? There's nowhere in my purchase and sales agreement when I'm dealing with a for sale by owner, and this is something Idaho needs to listen to, that I have ever had a seller ask me for a proof of funds letter. I never put it in the contract. When I'm dealing with agents, listen, Idaho, when I'm dealing with agents and the agent is representing a seller, they always ask me for a proof of funds letter. So you just need to shift your game, Idaho, and you need to go after sellers not represented by agents. Man, I could teach you so much if you would let go of that negativity, man. I really could. And you gave me a 1 star on my Facebook page. I shouldn't be teaching you anything, actually. And if you don't like me, why are you even on the page? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand that. Like, if you give me a 1 star, then why are you here? Why are you here, man? Come on. Why are you here? If you're going to give me a 1 star, I should boot you out of here. All right. So the purchase and sales agreement needs a few things, right? The purchase and sales agreement is what controls the property, okay? The LOI is what gets you to the contract. The contract is what controls the property. And I do not need here's the beauty of dealing with for sale by owners without an agent, okay? I do not need any type of pre-approval with a for sale by owner, okay? I don't need it. I don't need it, okay? All I need is the seller to say yes, and now I'm in control. Don't confuse working with true for sale by owners, meaning I've picked up the phone and I've called for sale by owners. I've picked up the phone, I've called rental ads. I've picked up the phone, I've made contacts with sellers who are selling, and now I'm in control of that. Versus going to an agent, which so many new people make this mistake. They lose money because of this. They think that if they just go out and pick up the phone and call an agent, they're going to get all these deals. And that's not the truth, especially if you're trying to be a creative investor, especially if you're trying to get out there and do creative stuff. You're not going to do it with an agent. You're not. You're going to get let down. They're going to eat you up for lunch. They're going to ask you questions you can't answer. They're going to require documents from you that you can't produce. So stop doing what you can't do. Look, you guys need to get my book, my First Deal Playbook. Go to Amazon, and it's $6. If you can't afford $6, then you really need the book. It's on Amazon. It's $6. It's called My First Deal Playbook. It breaks down the psychology of why so many of you are failing, because you're going after the wrong lead sources, and you need to change your thinking process and go after the right ones. That's where the purchase and sales agreement comes in. It controls the property. It dictates closing date. It dictates your inspection period. It dictates, your rights to get in and get out of the deal inside your inspection period. It has all your contingencies. It has the amount you're going to pay for it. It lays out all the logistics of the deal. And when you both sign it, yes, you are now in a binding agreement. Unless, as a wholesaler, you're in and out of that deal inside your contingency period because you have a contingency for an inspection. Don't ever, listen to me, don't ever go into a contract without an inspection contingency. And I know, trust me, I know there's some people out there that'll say, oh, well, there's people out there that'll say, oh, well, if you put an inspection contingency, you won't get the deal. Well, I don't want the deal. You understand? Like, why would I want a deal that I can't inspect? Like, logically, it don't make any sense. I don't want it. And listen, and if they say, oh, well, you're not going to get any in this market, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to a different market. That's what I'm going to do. That's your purchase and sales agreement. Most agents want a state-approved contract. Do you have to have a state-approved contract with for sale by owners? No. You just need a straight purchase and sales agreement. It could be a one-page agreement. It could be a 10-page agreement, but it doesn't have to be state. State is driven around agents. Agents use a state-approved contract to protect them, okay? All right, let me go back through here and see. I'm getting a lot of questions right now. All right, so Gloria said, Edaho, there it comes Elaho again. Elaho, I don't know. I mean, it's not going to work for you, okay? You're too negative. You're way too negative. You're giving me a 1 star on a free Facebook training page, which tells me right away that you got your screws messed up. Gloria says, thanks. Thomas says, thank you. Diana says, it's called positive thinking, like the way you explained it. Yes, Diana, we're on the same page. I love you guys. I love you guys. I really do. I love how much you guys are a community here. You're helping each other. You're keeping things going. You're talking about your deals. That is why I love this community, okay? Kenneth says, you referenced the resource CD. How do I find that? Kenneth, it would be in any, if you're on an online, if you have one of my online products, there's there'll be a tab that says resource or bonus. If you got a physical product from me, there'll be a CD in there that says resource. Here comes that Elaho again. How can I get control without any pre-approval letter? Elaho, you're not getting it. You're not getting it. You're not getting it. You don't have to have, I'm going to say it one more time. You do not have to have a pre-approval letter to work with a for sale by owner. You can take that for what it is or not. Obviously, whatever you've been doing for 3 years ain't been working for you, so you need to try something different. Or you can forget about all that negative and forget about all that nonsense and remove your 1 star rating for me on a Facebook page where I give free training and actually open your mind up and learn something here, okay? Meredith, study it. It's all in his manuals. Thank you, Meredith. It absolutely is. Diana says, you deserve a 10 star. Oh, you guys are awesome, man. I love you, Diana. Love you, love you, love you. Gail says, to learn. Edaho, lost all my, oh my God, this guy's so negative. Steve says, your mindset's going into means everything. You choose, your choice is your positive or negative. Steve, this is why me and you are like this, my friend. We're like this, Steve. Edward says, that's what I like about Zack. Listen or get out. I ain't got a problem. What blows me away, Edward, is like how somebody wants to go on and give you a review for 1 star because they say that you don't give any value, but then they'll hop on your live stream and ask you 101 questions, right? Well, if I don't give you value, then why would you even be here, right? It makes no sense. So, have you done a 3-way wholesale deal? Yes. What type of agreements would you need to be in place? So a 3-way wholesale deal is simply a co-wholesaling agreement with the wholesaler who has the deal and a co-wholesaling agreement with the wholesaler who has the buyer to dictate your pay. You're using 2 co-wholesaling agreements to formulate the triangle, Kenneth. Oh my gosh. Somebody tell this Elaho that they don't know what they're talking about. He just said nobody will sign a contract without a proof of funds. That is such a lie, Elaho. I don't know why you're lying. That is such a lie, man. That is such a lie. Samuel says, good afternoon, everyone. Ariana says, no negative here. Love it. Ella says, I try your way 3 years. Lost. Oh, my jeez. Gloria says, Zack, don't pay attention to negativity. I'm trying, Gloria. I'm trying. But here's the thing. I want to help everybody, right? And I know somewhere down inside this person, if he would listen or she would listen, I'm sure I could change their mindset and I could start giving them strategies that would help them. But you got to get them to listen, right? You can take a horse to water, but you can't get them to drink it. Elaborate doesn't understand the English language. That's very true. Linda says, sorry, could you tell me the name of the book again? I definitely need it. Oh, my book on Amazon. It's called My First Deal Playbook. My First Deal Playbook. My First Deal Playbook on Amazon. Just search it on Amazon. Thanks, Zach. You tell it straight and your info is good. Thanks. Thomas says, elaborate, needs the book. Just give it again. Gloria says, I agree, Zach, you're great. Thanks, Gloria. Vera says, hey, Zach, guess what? The light bulb has finally come on. Got several leads that I think are promising. Way to go, Vera. Love it, Vera. You are a rock star. You never give up. I love that about you, Vera. Steve says, Linda, my First Deal Playbook. Thank you. Oh, jeez. Kenneth, move on from this guy. I am. AJ, hello. Only do I negative deals with the realtors. Okay. All right. So here we are. Thanks, Zach. Getting it now. Way to go, Linda. So now we're moving on to the assignment contract. Okay. So I've taken you through the deal, right? We initiate with an LOI. And the LOI is just my intent to buy, right? It's my intent to say, look, I'm interested in your property. I can send out 1,000 of those. 1,000 of them. I don't even have to put any earnest money down. I don't have to put anything down with an LOI, right? The LOI. Now, once they come back and say, yeah, I'm interested. Like, I'd like to talk to you about selling you my house. You say, great. Then you move to a purchase and sales agreement. Now, let me be very clear. If I'm dealing with a for sale by owner that I have found through calling, for sale by owners, through Craigslist, rental ads, all the resources that we talk about, like we're going to talk about this weekend at my event in LA, those are straight seller for sale by owners, okay? Which means all I've got to do is put a contract together. And that contract dictates how I'm going to be in there. The language that needs to be in that contract so I can wholesale is buyer reserves the rights to take title in name or entity of choice. That's what reassures my ability to assign my contract. The buyer reserves the rights to take title in name or entity of choice, okay? So that's one of the things you have to be in there. That's what allows me to then move to the assignment agreement, okay? And I'm just so proud of all the students that are on this feed that watch us every Tuesday, that make the comments about how they're doing deals, they just wholesaled a deal, they're in the middle of wholesaling a deal, the ones that are giving our coaches credit and talking about how great they are. We have one of our coaches on here, AC. We had some people last week giving him a lot of praise, and I just think that it's beautiful to see those that listen and believe and actually do the work, right? That's where the game changes. So, and I appreciate that. The assignment agreement is where we make our money, okay? The assignment agreement has to dictate that you, as the wholesaler, are not the owner of the property. It has to be fully disclosed. It has to be disclosed fully that you're not the owner of the property and that your intent is to sell your rights to close on that property to someone else, the new buyer in this case, okay? It has to dictate the address of the property in which you have a contract to buy. It has to dictate the amount of the assignment fee that you're requesting. And there's other language to keep you safe, like all the information in the contract is binding to the new buyer. And this is why you as wholesalers have to listen to this. It's very important that you got to remember when you're selling an assignment contract. Remember, we don't wholesale as sell houses. As wholesalers, we sell the contract. That's what the new buyer is buying. So for you as a wholesaler to say to that buyer, you can't see the contract, that's like saying to somebody, you want to buy a car, but you can't see the car, just pay me the money. You can't do that. Where people have a fear of showing the contract is they're afraid the new buyer is going to go around them, right? Well, you just got to make sure you cover up, pieces of the contract that you don't feel comfortable with that buyer using or seeing, and then allow them to review it. Because for me as a buyer, buying from wholesalers all the time, which I buy from wholesalers, they make an assignment fee. I want to know the language in the contract. I want to know what is in that contract and what am I buying, because I'm bounded to that once I buy that through the assignment agreement. So you just need to be aware of that. So, all right, AC says you need coaching. You're right, AC. That's exactly what he needs. Thanks, Zach. I'll give you 100 stars. You're amazing. Thanks, Schwan. Appreciate you, buddy. Edward says, would you rather get your money up front or wait to get it from escrow? That is a great question, Edward. On the assignment agreement, if you're using mine, it has two parts. It has one part where it says, a down payment of the assignment agreement in the amount of is due at signing, and the other amount can come out of escrow. It keeps them in the game, but it also allows me to spread it out. Let's say I've got a $10,000 assignment fee and my buyer doesn't want to write me a $10,000 check. Well, I'll say, okay, well, write me 5 now and 5 at the time of close, and then I can just submit an invoice into escrow and get paid out of escrow. So my personal credit is bad, but business is building great. Which is better in this business? Your business is doing good. I'm going to tell you right now, I never even used my credit for at least the first decade of my investing career. For the first decade of my investing career, I never even used it. So is personal credit important? Yes, it is. It's going to be very important as you grow, okay? Because as you move into personal assets and you're buying rentals and apartments, you're going to need that. But in the beginning, like me, when I first started, all I was doing seller financing deal structures and wholesaling. I never once used my credit, not once. So I didn't need it. And then as I built up cash and I built up reserves, I was just basically paying for things for cash, and I was moving my model that way. And then I built private investors and I used their money. As I moved into long-term assets, I would place private investor money on there. So you got to always be thinking, James, and I like your question because it sounds to me like you're someone who's always thinking. You're looking to move forward at all costs, and that's a very important question. But don't let your credit prevent you from moving forward. So all right, moving on. Lease option paperwork. What is the lease option purchase agreement? Well, the lease option purchase agreement is just that. It is a purchase and sales agreement with the intent of you taking the property with a long-term lease with the rights to buy it at the end. That's what that unfolds as. So it's like saying, hey, look, I want seller financing on your deal, but they may not want to do straight seller financing. Or they may not want to do a wrap mortgage, or they may not want to do a subject to, or they may not want to do a contract for deed or a land installment contract because they may have debt on it and they may be nervous about that or not sure how to do it. So the simplest way to control that property is to do a lease option purchase, where you're saying, hey, look, I'm going to go into a purchase and sales agreement with you, but I'm going to have a 4-year lease on it with the option to purchase it at the end of 4 years. And we're going to control the price now, so in 4 years I'm paying for what we negotiated now. So that's where the lease option paperwork comes in. I'm a big fan of lease options. I think they're super powerful. If you're renting right now, you should be doing a lease option instead of renting. Especially if you're finding lease options through like a foreclosure list where people are behind on payments. You might have to have some reserves to clean them up out of arrearages, but they're really easy to get in on. Rental ads are another great avenue for that. I mean, there's lots of ways if you just put the time in. But at the end of the day, you got to do this. You gotta literally pick the phone up and you got to make a lot of calls. For those of you that were at my 2-day immersion or any of my 2-day immersions, you've seen the amount of deals that we get in a matter of 2 days. And we don't pay for any of them. Guess what? We don't even send out a proof of funds letter. Right? We just get deals because we're dealing with for sale by owners, okay? And that is why it is so important that you understand that it's just this. It's making the phone calls to for sale by owners. Real estate agents are the ones that are going to require more documents, more proofing, things like that. But stay away from that. Stay with for sale by owners, okay? That's who you stay with, all right? All right, co-wholesaling agreement. Let's talk about that. You need to do an online immersion class, Kenneth said. I've thought about that, Kenneth. I really have. I just haven't done it. So, and I'm just going to say this one more time. I'm 16 years of investing. And I can tell everyone on here, and especially those of you on here that are doing deals too, you do not have to have a proof of funds letter to lock up a property with a for sale by owner. I'm going to be very clear on that. That's going to be the last time I make that statement. So if you don't recognize that and you can't receive that information because we have a language barrier, then I apologize. But that is the fact, Jack. Okay? So Kenneth says you need to do an online course. Got that, Kenneth. All right, co-wholesaling agreement. What is a co-wholesaling agreement? Okay? A co-wholesaling agreement is nothing more than an agreement between you and another wholesaler who either has a buyer or has a deal already under contract without a proof of funds. Let's be clear on that, because they're dealing with for sale by owners. That you're saying to that other wholesaler, I'm going to go into an agreement with you to help in this partaking of selling the contract in which you have on that property. Okay? So what that means is that you can now say, instead of me spending money and going out and doing a big marketing campaign, I can literally go out and I can find another wholesaler who already has deals, and I can go into a co-wholesaling agreement with that other wholesaler, which means I can now bring a buyer to the table and we can share or split in the assignment fee to sell that contract over, okay? And that is where the co-wholesaling agreement comes in. The DOF form, this is a very specific form that you're going to want to think about, because the DOF form is a form that allows you to get paid out of escrow, demand of funds. It allows you to get paid out of escrow, okay? And what that really means is that you're now able to move out of the contract. So if I have a seller and I have a buyer who's getting financing, well, that finance buyer has to have a direct contract with the seller so that the lender will approve his funds or her funds. Well, if I'm the wholesaler and I'm in the middle, that buyer has a contract with me to buy my assignment agreement, not with the seller. So I get myself out of the way and I put that buyer and I put that seller into a direct contract. But before I do that, I have them sign a DOF, a demand of funds letter that dictates my fee and how I'm being paid that out of escrow. So that's the power of a demand of funds letter. Let's see what other questions you guys got coming in. Also, it's tax time. Do some tax refund specials deals for training courses? Listen, every single training course that you've ever invested in, whether it be with me or anyone else, is a tax deduction. It is training for your business, okay? So anything that you've ever spent for your business, whether it be for training, whether it be for consulting or coaching, or whether it be for a computer or a desk, anything, that's all tax write-offs for your business, okay? Can I get a copy of this week's 3-day class? Can't be there. Steve, you just need to call in the office and talk to somebody about that. I don't think we're actually putting the whole recording system together for this one like we did the other ones. So, Melody says, thank you for your free training, Zack. You're welcome, Melody. That's awesome. Hey, listen, I'm going to say this. If you're asking me the same question over and over and over and over and over and over again, and I've already answered it over and over and over again, obviously you're not listening, okay? Diana says, how do you handle a wholesale deal if a buyer wants to see the house? Oh, that's a good question. I'm worried the buyer would go behind my back and get to the seller. That's a good question. Here's the thing. Once you're in an actual contract with the seller, that's a binding agreement, right? If that seller tries to break that agreement with you and go with somebody else, that's called breach of contract, okay? So there's repercussion there alone. The other side of it is I don't ever send the buyer to the property without me or one of my property specialists or my project managers going to that property and being there with that buyer, right? And having him the opportunity to see the property. Excuse me. If you're doing this virtually, if you're living in, I don't know, say New York, and you know that, man, it's a tough market to wholesale in New York, so you're probably having a hard time getting it done. You might want to go and start wholesaling in Oklahoma or Kansas. You need to use a service like We Go Look, and you might just have them go to the property and meet your buyer with your assignment agreement so that they're there, you know, walking the property with your buyer and getting ready for the assignment agreement. So, all right, what's an ICA? We're going to talk about ICA. ICA is Independent Contractor Agreement. This is for all my level 3 investors. Level 3 investors, meaning that you're a rehabber now, meaning that you've secured some down payment money, whether it be through a private investor or through your own hard work and effort, you've secured it, or and you've secured asset-based lenders or hard money lenders. You've secured both of those, right? You've secured them both. Now you're moving into a tier 3 investor, rehabber. When you move into a rehab position and you're hiring contractors, you have to use an ICA. You have to. Independent Contractor Agreement. It basically lays out the scope of work. It lays out all the stuff that's involved in that deal and what you need to be prepared for. It lays out every single thing that needs to be agreed upon between you and that contractor to be able to produce his work and how you pay them, what work they're going to do and what you're going to do to pay them. That's what it lays out for you, okay? And that's important for you. It's important for you in many, many, many ways, okay? Is that you learn that the ICA is protection. It's protection from you to them. It also gives you a very clear understanding and a very clear layout of how you're going to work together, okay? How you're going to work together. That's what it lays out. So, the ICA, use them, guys. My doorbell just rang. Did you guys hear that? I can't get up and go over there. I'm sure there's somebody out there. But they'll just have to wait, won't they? All right, let's see here. Vera says, I've known you a long time now, Zach. I just want to say you just keep getting better and better. I've enjoyed and learned so much on these webinars. One question, how do I do due diligence on properties out of Huntsville? Boom, I just gave it to you. We Go Look. You want to go to We Go Look. We Go Look helps you do that, okay? It's literally a service that will go look at anything, anywhere, at any time for you that helps you with feet on the ground wherever it's at. So James says, after purchasing your wholesale program, will that allow me to join an immersion class? James, that does not. Immersion classes are high-level stuff. You've got to be able to get through that course and really understand and go out and start producing. But I'm happy to talk to you about the immersion. Love to get on the phone with you about that, James. But if I was to give you some advice, James, hopefully you're talking about the 30-day fast track, one of the best courses I've ever created. I would just embed myself into that lead intake manual. The lead intake manual is going to take you all the way through what you need to know. On top of that, I'd go into the Business 101 manual and I would read and learn those scripts over and over and over. It's all about how you communicate. Listen, if you have a hard time communicating with a seller, they're not going to believe you. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to want to do business with you. And then, you know, if you're the victim type person, you're going to blame everybody else for your failures to communicate. And James, I just don't believe that's you at all. You've been a really good student, and I think that you're going to do fine. You just got to plug in and keep going, man. Girl Scout cookies at the door. Edward, you have no idea. In the neighborhood I live in, I get kids coming here from other school districts wanting me to participate in their fundraising, right? I get Girl Scout cookies through here like you wouldn't believe, man. I mean, it's crazy how they come through here. Non-stop. They come through here. So, all right, guys. Well, we've been here about an hour, giving you some love, teaching you some things. Week 5 of the 24-week challenge is right here at your fingertips. Remember what I said. This week, your job is to study these agreements. Find these contracts, figure it out, right? Be resourceful, do what you know how to do, and get yourself familiarized with the agreements that you're going to use over and over again, okay? That's what I'm going to tell you, okay? Jim, you're welcome. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate the compliment, my friend. I appreciate it. You just keep rolling, Jim. Keep doing your thing, man. Keep going out there. Keep making phone calls. Keep finding deals, okay? Meredith says, thank you so much, Zach. Oh, you're welcome, Meredith. I love having you back here. Good to have you back, Meredith. Good to have you back. Really is. Really is. Really, really is. Love seeing all the familiar faces coming back week after week after week, learning for free, right? You gotta love that word, right? Education for free. So, Ella-ho, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. You just don't get it, do you, buddy? I can't help you, man. I can't help you. That's the reality. I just can't. Oh, let me get rid of that. I don't think I can help you, Ella-ho. I really don't. So I think it would just be good if we parted ways, my friend. Unless you're willing to listen. If you're willing to listen and you're willing to come back and learn and listen and do what I'm asking you to do, you might be surprised. But if that's not you, look, let's just shake hands. Let's part ways, my friend. I wish you all the best. So, all right. You guys are good. I love you guys. Thanks for being back on here. We're going into tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern time zone. We are digging into habit number 2. Think with the end in mind by Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So that's what we got to do. So let's see here. What we got here? Gloria says, thank you for your wealth of information. You're welcome, Gloria. Diana says, love it. Kenneth says, how do I get an email on the notes for a 3-way wholesale deal? Been bumbling into wholesalers with deals. Kenneth, go back and watch this. It's the co-wholesaling agreement. That's what it is. Go back and watch it. Tanya says, if you're a newbie, what program would you say to get into? The 30-day fast track. Tanya, it's the 30-day fast track. That literally is where we're getting an abundance of testimonials from. Edward says, thanks, Zach. Can't wait for it till tomorrow. Yes, sir. Steven says, learn while you earn with Zach. Love it. They have to help themselves. That is so true, AC. They have to help themselves. So my policy moving forward is if people give me 1-star reviews on my Facebook page, I'm not going to let them on the feeds anymore. So hey, listen, if you're all here, go over on the review page on my Facebook page and give me a review. Go over there, tell me what you like, tell me what you'd like to learn, tell me what your impressions are. Give me a review, give me a star rating. I ain't going to be mad at you if you give me a 4. I'm going to ask you what can I do better. But I'm going to start the people who don't appreciate this, and we're just going to move on. So let's see here. Ella-ho, you getting it? You said I'm listening. Ella-ho's listening. I want to learn. Ella-ho, the first thing you need to do is you need to go over my review page and take that 1 star off of there. That's the first thing you need to do, and then I'll start helping you. So Scott says, I'm new to this program and you make more sense than the rest. Thank you. Thanks, Scott. That's appreciation right there, man. I love that. You're new to the program and you make more sense than the rest. Thank you. Scott, it's not that complicated. You just got to you know what I mean? You got to find out what you need to do. What are the simple things to make it work? And you got to make phone calls, man. I mean, you got to make phone calls. Unless you got down payment money and you got banks backing you, then you just got to make offers, man. You just got to make offers and find deals and get them deals done, man. That's what you got to do. So it's a numbers game. Just most people aren't willing to put the time or the effort or the work in. And most people are very sensitive, meaning that when someone tells them no or they ask for things that they can't get, they get sensitive. Like the whole thing with this other guy talking about a proof of funds. Do you understand how easy that is? He's making that out to be like that's what's stopping him from succeeding, and it's not. You can Google proof of funds letters, and there are thousands of companies out there that will give you one for free, right? They'll give you one for free. So people tend to make small excuses, turn them into big boulders, and that's why they have financial challenges. So, but you're right, Scott. Keep it simple. Tracy says, thank you, Zach. Love you and all your team. Thanks, Tracy. Stephanie gives us a bunch of stars. I love that. Kenneth says, post your product page link that may help someone. You got to call the office, Kenneth. You just need to call the office. I don't really think I have a link. We like to talk to people. The reason we want to talk to people is because, look, what I think may work for you may not be actually what you need, but once we get somebody on the phone with you and actually talk to you and engage with you, then we'll figure out what you really need. So that number is 707-247-4248. 707, I think it's up here in the description. Well, I'm shocked that it's not in the description. So anyways, that number is 707-247-4248. If you don't know, ask Zach. Love it, Thomas. Linda says, yeah, I couldn't understand either until I listened to him today. Everyone else seems to make it more complicated, but Zach is awesome. Oh, Linda, you're melting my heart over here. Thanks, Linda. You know, it's not that complicated. It's really not. Is there a lot of work? Yeah, there's a lot of work, but it's really not that complicated. It's repetitive stuff over and over to get you to the success that you want. So, can we purchase your contracts for our business use? James, they're all inside the 30-day fast track. You already have them all. Darius, what is the national property inspection companies you use? We Go Look is the service that I use to go look at properties for me. WeGoLook.com. Stephanie says, I love how Zach is so straightforward and don't hold nothing back. Hey, some people like that, some don't, Linda, or Stephanie. So, some people don't like the truth. What's that say? What's the guy? You can't handle the truth. Right? Some people don't want to hear the truth. You know why, Stephanie? Because they want it. They don't want to think that it was them. They want to think somebody took advantage of them. They want to think that somebody did them wrong instead of looking in the mirror and saying, this is me. I'm the reason I'm not doing enough. I'm the reason I haven't gotten to where I want to be. I'm the reason I'm not working harder. I'm my own worst enemy. I've got to push forward. That is where I will tell people that they're not doing. And people don't like to hear that. They like to be the victim, right? They like to say, oh, I failed in life because so many people did me wrong. Please. It's you. It's not them. Hey, Zach, I really need more from you. Awesome. Keep showing up, Schwan. Thomas says, you don't know what you don't know. Stephanie says, that's right. Vera says, plan to be at the REI meeting next week. I need a hug. Vera, you show up, I'll give you a hug, sweetheart. Miss you too, Vera. All right, guys, I've been on here for a long time today. I got to get rocking and rolling. I got things to do. I got kids to pick up from school, and I got things to get done. This is Zack Childress, your real estate coach. I've enjoyed you guys today. Keep it positive, keep it real, and keep showing back up. We're doing tomorrow's our Dig Deeper show. Same channel, same time, 1:30 Eastern time zone. We're going to be digging into Stephen Covey. Habit number 2. See you guys. Be good.